guys, Ghost here, and today we have yet another CTE update to discuss. DICE are really going to town pumping out these updates, so much so that I can barely keep up with them, which I think we can all agree is a good thing. So firstly, today's footage portrays the current state of affairs in the community map project, or should I say Operation Outbreak, which looks like the chosen name for the new map. Every patch there are new tweaks here and there, new art assets being implemented, ambient noises, the objective locations are being moved, cover, vehicles, you name it. So I figured you guys can see that for yourself whilst I ramble on here. Now I'm sure many of you have been asking the question, when will we get higher tick rate servers for Battlefield 4's main game? Well, it might be sooner than you think. The summer patch introduced new icons and the necessary infrastructure to facilitate such servers, and Wednesday night this week, DICE started testing out different tick rates on 4 different servers. They started by testing 45Hz, then bumped it up to 60Hz, and then incrementally further on from there, just to see how many players a server with such a tick rate could handle. Now if you'd like to try it for yourself, I'll leave a link down below to the server, or alternatively, you can search for DICE High Tick in the server filters, and that should bring all of them up. Don't be alarmed when you go in there and have a sluggish experience though. These servers are purely for testing purposes, so you certainly won't find an optimal gaming experience there, at least not yet. But the more people that get in there and help test, the quicker we can get our hands on those higher tick rates. Now, aside from the CMP changes, DICE have been continuing on with the vehicle balance pass. In the last video, the primary focus was on the jets. This time around, we've got a bit of a mixed bag. So firstly, below radar should now properly affect active radar missiles. Some people were getting worried that this was intentional, but as I thought, it was just a bug which has apparently now been rectified. Now here's a controversial one for you. All aircraft glass is now bulletproof, so you can no longer get shot or blasted out through the glass. I believe sniper rifles can still headshot pilots out, but weapons like HMGs or the Scout Heli's miniguns will no longer do very high damage on glass hits. So I'd say this change is mainly going to affect the Scout Helis. There really isn't much justification behind this. In my eyes, if you're flying in close proximity to infantry players where you can be shot out with small arms fire, then that's your mistake. The whole sort of mini-game, if you will, of aiming for the pilot at close range rather than the vehicle itself is an integral and enthralling part of what makes Battlefield fun, so why they take that away or diminish that is beyond me. Anyway, this is only a prototype, and personally, I kinda hope it stays that way. The following shotguns have had their pellet count reduced for both the buckshot and flechette ammo types, and those are the UTS-15, the Saiga 12K, DAO-12, the DBV-12, and the M1014. As I'm sure most of you will know, the majority among those are the automatic shotguns, so that should help bring them a little more in line with their pump action variants. Boat minigun damage has been increased as well, so that goes for both the attack boat and the rib boats, and it's been increased from 10 maximum 2 minimum to 12 maximum and 6 minimum, so that's quite a substantial buff there, especially on the lower drop-off end. The trade-off here though is that the drop-off has seen a reduction. The current retail drop-off starts at 250 meters and ends all the way out at 500, but the CTE version starts at 200 and ends at 300. So this should reduce the effective range, but if you get too close to a boat, these things should chew you up like never before. Attack jet rocket pods now have a proper reticle to aim with. You guys know I'm not the biggest user of rocket pods, but nevertheless, it's really nice to see this since we've been asking for it since day one. C4 has seen a change too. It's had its damage slightly lowered and its blast radius decreased as it was deemed too easy to take out vehicles with. The AA mines have been buffed. They are no longer immune to below radar. Their damage has been increased and you can now equip them along with a launcher of your choosing. Now I will agree that they seem rather useless since they came out. I can't remember the last time I was hit by one, and they remain relatively untouched, so these buffs will surely make them more appealing. However, allowing players to equip both a Stinger or Igla and the AA mines I feel is a touch too far. And finally, The main battle tanks have all had their top speeds increased, with the Abrams seeing the biggest change from 53 km/h all the way up to 62. They've also all had their different shell types reworked. So the guided shell is now comparable to laser guided missiles. It will do damage, but it no longer relies on how you hit your target. The 8G shell has basically been turned into a dual purpose, offering better damage against infantry than the AP shell, but less damage against vehicles. The staff shell is going to be a close to medium range option to land critical hits on enemy vehicles, but it's going to have a lot lower ammo count. Now, almost every single statistic for each of these shells has been changed, from reload time to ammo count to blast radius to damage, so I'll go ahead and link the patch notes down below, and if you guys want to check them out for yourselves, then you can do so. And similarly, the attack boats have had their primary weapons reworked as well. So the 25mm is supposed to be the highest damage per magazine and good against infantry. The 30mm is the highest damage output over time against ground vehicles, but delivers damage very quickly, but has a low range. And the burst cannon has the highest damage output against aircraft, and it has a better range. So once again, all those changes you can find down below in the patch notes. And that's, my friends, is that a slurry of new changes, which I'm sure will all be debated, scrutinized, and speculated upon. So until the next one, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.